Thank you very much for joining me. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields, and thank you for taking the time to put all the likes on yesterday's video. I see that, I appreciate that, and I'll do my best throughout the day to get to all of the comments. Now, I want to get into this, of course, a lot of chatter about this area, and it is an area to watch, but nothing crazy alarming at this point, just an area to watch, and we'll monitor together. Here we are in the Caribbean, open waters of the Atlantic, and here's this strong tropical wave moving off the coast of Africa. Let me zoom into it a little bit closer. Now, the good thing about the tropics is that sometimes these systems are so far out there, or these tropical waves are so far out there, we have plenty of time to watch them, monitor them, and if necessary, get ready for them. Now, this one though, not seeing any development over the next several days because there's a lot of dry air. I'll show you that in a minute. But what's going to happen is, as this tropical wave moves off, even if it doesn't develop, it is going to add more moisture to the atmosphere. And what that will do is it'll kind of change the season. It will, so to speak, open up the floodgates for more tropical development. So the tropical waves back behind it will eventually have a better chance of developing since there'll be a little more moisture in the atmosphere. So this tropical wave is going to change the season one way or another. But in the short term, it's going to run into some dry air. You see this orange shading here? This is a snapshot of the mid-levels of the atmosphere, what's going on above our heads. Lots of dry air. Dry air, some dust around. You may be dealing with some of that dust. The dry and stable air, that's a good thing for us, and it helps prevent these things from becoming hurricanes. I don't like hurricanes, so that's a good thing. So in the short term, as this comes off the coast of Africa, it's going to run into a dry and stable atmosphere. That'll prevent some development over the next several days. But down the road, about a week from now, there is a chance it could spin up once it gets a little bit closer to land. Now, let me show you that here. Here's the European model. Computer models, they're computers. They spit out data multiple times a day. Sometimes the European model turns this area here into a tropical storm, and then later in the day, it's not a tropical storm. At this point, the European model is kind of back and forth, which makes sense. It's very early in this the evolution of this area we're watching. So here we are in the Caribbean, area of high pressure to the north, and watching the fronts across the United States. That's all key in the steering of where this tropical wave goes. Now, let me take you out in time here. We're going to go days and days out in time. I'll stop the clock as we work our way into Sunday, as we get into the weekend. Here's the area of high pressure. Here's the area right here. That's in the central Atlantic. That's the tropical wave. It's going to be fighting the dry air. So you can see into the weekend, not expecting any development out of that. It's sitting right about there. Now, going out in time further on the European model, you can see the rain building, and that does have my attention, and that's why I mentioned it's an area to watch. Once we get into next week, this would be about a week from now, next Wednesday of next week, you see the area of rain right here. I mentioned that it will eventually get into an area that is more conducive for development. So that's when we'll really start to watch it to see if it does develop. Now, here's an area of high pressure. It slides off a little bit to the east. The high pressure areas are like blockers. They prevent them from going north. But then you have these fronts coming off the U.S. that could kind of pull things to the north. Now, if this does develop and get a little stronger, it would be more of a likelihood of a path toward the Bahamas or toward the U.S. Stronger systems that are spinning have a propensity to go to the north. If it stays weaker and just kind of a tropical wave, some rain, which would be a good thing, that would allow it to go just kind of missing these fronts and just kind of march its way off to the west. That's what the European model is seeing right now. Tomorrow may be showing a tropical storm or hurricane, but right now you can see once we work our way into next weekend, so not talking about this upcoming weekend, we're talking about a week from now, next Friday, next Saturday, you can see the moisture right here over near Jamaica, and then watching the other tropical waves behind it, high pressure up here, that'll keep everything moving off toward the west. So the European model, it doesn't have a good handle on this at this time, not knocking it, it's a developing tropical wave. Sometimes it shows a tropical storm approaching the Bahamas or approaching the Caribbean as a whole. Other times it just shows some needed rain, and that could be a good thing. Some of us really need to get the rain, especially in the northeastern Caribbean. So let's hope we get some good news out of this and not the bad news. But you can see what I'm watching. I'll get into the environment further in a second. Now, here's the American model. The American model is very similar to yesterday. It's not showing a whole lot. So let me just take you out in time into Saturday. Now, not losing sight of what's going on close to home, you see here, we're going to see that buildup of rain again in the Western Caribbean. No signs of development in that, but I'm going to watch it to see if anything does spin up. Anytime you get an area of rain, I do keep a very close eye on that. Now, as we work our way into Monday, we'll be watching out for a few areas of rain, but you see no big area, at least that's what the American model is showing here. here, and the American model did a pretty good job with Beryl. Now going out in time, let's just dive further. This would be a week from now, and now we're looking at about a week and a half from now as we get into that following weekend. This would be late on that Friday, and you see once we get down the road, there is some increased moisture, so we'll see. That's kind of the point here. The next few days, next several days, the European and American model aren't seeing development. That's because of the dry air I showed you and the stable air. Once it gets closer to the Caribbean or in the Caribbean, there is a chance it does develop, and we'll keep an eye on that, but we need a few more days to kind of fine-tune what the environment will look like. That is way, way down the road. But I mentioned the dry air helping us now, but it's not so dry where it is eventually going to end up, and those water temperatures are really warm, right around 30 degrees in the northeastern Caribbean, 86, 87 degrees Fahrenheit. There's some warm water that this area will eventually go over, so there's always a chance as it gets closer to us that it does spin up into a tropical storm. So that's what I'm watching, and we have days and days to watch that, as I mentioned. Now on the flip side, you see this. This here is a new tropical storm. This is Bud, and this is where I like them, over the water. Here we are in Mexico. Here's Guatemala, El Salvador, Nicaragua. Bud is well offshore, and it will be staying offshore, continue to work its way off to the west, and with that, weakening. So it's not even going to get over toward Hawaii. So this is a tropical storm. It is Bud. It is the second named system on the eastern Pacific side, which has a different list of names. Remember the B name, of course, on the Atlantic Basin side. That is Beryl, which we had. This is Bud on the eastern Pacific side, but over the water, and that will be staying away. But I keep an eye on the eastern Pacific as well, because sometimes these things swing back toward parts of Central America and Mexico. But in the short term, we've had flooding. Thank you for those comments. Nicaragua, Costa Rica. I've been watching the comments yesterday. Areas of rain and storms again. That's kind of the hot spot. And we've been seeing the unsettled weather near Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, near St. Vincent and Grenadines, Grenada for that chance of showers. Spotty showers too. Cayman Islands over toward Jamaica, back toward Haiti and the Dominican Republic today. And there's some rain. As I was talking about days and days ago, that Trinidad, for example, will get some passing showers, then some breaks, and we may get some more passing showers. That continues. Honduras, though, the rain chance through Nicaragua, Costa Rica, western Panama, still around, still seeing that elevated chance of rain. Going out in time here, this is by tomorrow afternoon on our Friday. Still a little unsettled over toward Trinidad and Tobago. St. Lucia, we may catch a shower. We may get a brief shower in the ABC Islands, but there's that rain here building. So I am concerned with the flood threat in the landslide potential. Nicaragua down through Costa Rica, watching some of our islands offshore over toward Providencia with some higher rain totals. So let me get to that right now, and then I'll expand out the view again. Here's Honduras, eastern zones. Here's Providencia, San Andres, down toward Nicaragua, eastern sections. Here's Costa Rica. There's some of that black shading, even the red shading showing up. Those are 3-day rain totals of 150 to about 200 millimeters of rain. That would be about 6 to 8 or 9 inches of rain. Some of us are going to get that. That's on top of what we already had, and that's why we're going to have that flood potential. Please, please let me know how you're doing in the comments. If you hear of any flooding nearby, post it. That's why we have this weather community. Now, as far as the seas go, I've been watching this the last few days. They are elevated now. There is a tropical wave that is sliding by into the eastern Caribbean right now. There's just not a lot of rain with it, but the seas will be elevated, but they are going to pick up some as this tropical wave moves into the Caribbean. The Caribbean itself, the wave height, it's usually a little choppy, central and southern Caribbean this time of year, but they are going to pick up. This here is by Saturday into Sunday. We're going to see some of the wave heights roughly of 3.5 meters or higher, so that could top out. There's feet on the right-hand side of your screen, over 10 feet in spots. You see that building near Honduras and Nicaragua, especially with some of that moisture that's going to be lifting from the south. So heads up, western Caribbean, approaching Central America, elevated seas. They are going to be a bit dangerous at times as we get into the weekend. As far as rain goes, anywhere from the Bahamas south through Cuba, Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Cayman Islands, a passing shower. If you do get a thunderstorm, we could get 50 millimeters of rain or 2 inches of rain. This is where we're too dry. Hopefully this system coming off the coast of Africa does not develop, but hopefully it could bring us some rain. St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda, Anguilla, St. Martin, we could use some rain. We've had some at times, but we could definitely use some more. Trinidad and Tobago, that's where we could see some more action over the next day or so. You can see here St. Lucia, Barbados, passing shower, St. Vincent of the Grenadines, Grenada, but still across Trinidad, we could get a 3-day rain total in some spots of 75 millimeters of rain or 3 inches of rain. Same thing as we work our way down toward Guyana. I highlighted this, the heavier rain here. Belize, though, we could get a few scattered showers and storms, not as much the Yucatan of Mexico. Guatemala, though, and El Salvador, we are going to see an increased chance of rain. And back toward Mexico, right into central Mexico, that's where, again, we're going to have some higher totals of 100 millimeters of rain or 4 inches of rain or higher. We've had some flooding. It's been some life-threatening flooding in some spots. Watching that in and around Mexico City. Now, Jamaica, we're looking at a 40% chance of scattered showers and storms the next few days. Could get a passing one today. Passing shower possible in the Cayman Islands. Rain chance, though, still on the elevated side. 40 to 50% chance of some scattered showers across Trinidad and Tobago. 30% chance in Barbados. 40% chance in St. Lucia today. And a 30% chance tomorrow, a 30 to 40% chance in Grenada over the next couple of days. Isolated showers possible, a little unsettled. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Martinique, 30% chance. Same thing as we work our way toward Dominica. The rain chance is not too high, and it stays relatively low as we get back toward Guadeloupe, and then even lower as we get toward Antigua and Barbuda. Rain chance only 10 to 20%. Mainly dry, St. Kitts, Nevis, and Montserrat. Mainly dry as we get back toward Anguilla and St. Bart's. As we get over towards St. Martin, Ceiba, Statia, that rain chance stays low, and it stays low in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico, an isolated storm, and wherever you are, if you're dry this time of year, it is so very, very hot. Rain chance stays small. U.S. and British Virgin Islands could get a couple showers and storms around across the Bahamas, 30 to 40% chance, 30% chance in the Turks and Caicos, and isolated thunderstorms in the Dominican Republic. Could see 1 or 2 popping up as we get into Haiti. Rain chance about 50% in Belize, so that is elevated from earlier this week. Some scattered showers and storms will be possible as we work our way into Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire. The rain chance is low from Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire, but we could see a few showers. If a couple kind of hang together from northeastern Venezuela and Trinidad, we may get a couple passing by over the next few days. Guyana, the rain chance 60% today, 50% chance tomorrow, 50% chance across Suriname, 40% chance of some afternoon and evening storms in Cuba, and there's the higher chance of rain again. Costa Rica, watching Panama, watching Nicaragua, especially closer to the Caribbean. Same thing in Honduras, closer to the Caribbean. The better chance of rain, the higher chance of some areas of flooding. Guatemala, El Salvador, rain chance about 60% with some flooding in parts of Mexico City and nearby, but you get toward the Yucatan Peninsula, about a 30 to 40% chance, 30 to 40% chance in northern Colombia and northern Venezuela, and generally on the dry side as we get back toward Bermuda. So the pattern getting busier, strong tropical wave coming off. It is fighting through the dry air, which is good. I want the dry air to win out and win that battle. Some development, though, will be possible as after it passes that bigger pocket of dry air. So I'm watching it. It is that area to watch. And then Tropical Storm Bud, as I showed you in the eastern Pacific side, that will be moving away, staying over the open waters. Thank you for being part of this channel, and have a good rest of your day.